Welcome to Mobile Reasoning. As you know, we do things a little different with Good News Jamaica. We focus on some really powerful people doing amazing things, living fantastic lives for all of us to follow. So, we're going to talk with Dr. Damian Ffriend. Bishop. You'll find out more as we go along. But, Dr. Ffriend, how are you?
Well, thanks.
All right, excellent. Now, I want to let you know that this persona of Dr. Ffriend, and this is what I'm doing, that not gonna last too long, right? But you'll see as we go on. So, Damian.
Yeah.
How are you, sir?
I'm good. Excellent.
Welcome to Mobile Reasoning.
My pleasure. Never knew I would make it, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
it's good to qualify to be here.
Yeah. Listen, with the person that you are and the things that you do, we had to create space for you, right? But we're not going to get into that now. We're going to start back way down in a primary school.
Ooh, yeah, all right.
Where are you from?
Well, I'm from Kingston.
You're from Kingston. What part of Kingston?
Well, I originally, as far as I can remember,
okay,
I was originally in the Shortwood Road area.
Okay.
I actually went to the country for a while. So I spent 3 years.
Where?
In St. Mary, Essex.
Okay, Essex. Okay.
Yes, Essex is just outside of Flint River.
Okay.
Yeah, back in those days, you got nothing to take you farther than Flint River. Well, no, Richmond actually.
Okay.
And you had to walk from there. So I spent 3 years in Essex.
What ages? Yes,
that was between age 5 to 8.
Okay.
Yes, because my mom was doing her first degree at the time.
Okay.
And so she couldn't take care of me, so I spent that with my grandmother.
The grandma.
But I enjoyed it.
That's a splendid time.
Oh gosh, it was awesome. And then I came back. When I came back to Kingston, I then lived in Duane Park.
Okay. And
I was in Duane Park until I became an adult.
Okay.
Yeah.
So your primary school was split
Yes.
between two places.
Yes.
But the last primary school you went to was when?
George Headley Primary.
George Headley. That's some kind of... That's some kind of expensive and dear. You know, you have to be...
Well, it's funny that you say that because in my time at George Headley, they used to call it the prep primary school.
Then it sounds like it's a prep primary school. It sounds like you mean they were well proper and
very, very proper. Very proper. At the time, the founding principal was the principal.
Oh.
And
okay.
You know what that is like.
That's like a Miss Vida Smith at Mona, where she never take nutter.
Listen me now, man.
That was it.
Listen me now.
Yeah.
It's one time I ever get beaten in school, and it was the principal who beat me, And just to give you an idea of how she was. So I was walking home because I lived close enough to school. So I'm walking home from school and a whole group of us. And we're walking across the play field. And one of the boys, I won't call his name now, but I remember his name until this day. Talk about trauma. And so he decided he wanted to urinate. And so he decided to walk and urinate. And somebody, I have no idea who it was, saw and told the principal. The next morning I was in class and I heard her calling names out to come to her office. My name included. But once I heard my name included, I figured no problem because I never got into problems.
Right.
When we went in, the rest is history, sir. Let me tell you what.
She put it down for you.
Every one of us, I mean, not just him who was doing it, All of us who were in the group who were walking, and of course, we're laughing. And
of course.
That tells you what we're talking about.
All right. So now, you are a psychologist.
Yes.
Right? What did that do for you mentally and emotionally?
Well, though I say it was traumatic, really I think it taught me a lot of life lessons very early. because it made sure that I recognize that I have to, one, be careful of my choice as it concerns friends and persons whom I align myself with. It also pointed out that, it's not okay to just not do the thing, but you need to stand up and make your voice be heard. Stand up for what it is that you believe is right and stand against what you believe is wrong.
Interesting that you say that. Fast forward to today. Is that something you teach in your church?
I definitely do that. It is one of my guiding principles. I believe that it is not good enough to not agree but keep silent. Yes, there needs to be a voice. And when you think of even the prayer that Jesus taught, which is, "Thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven," how will it happen? We have to do it here. And if we're not going to speak out, if we're not going to stand up, if we're not going to be counted, then nothing will happen.
Because there's this thought now, especially nowadays, that the church is silent. I mean, the church is not active in our neighborhood, in our lives, and so that is why these crime is going rampant and all that kind of stuff. What is your answer to that?
I disagree.
Okay.
And let me quickly say that we can definitely do more. Right? I see no reason for us to feel as if, okay, we've got there. No. We've gotten there? No. We can do more. But I actually think we've been doing a lot. One of the things with the churches in Jamaica is that we tend not to, and probably to our detriment, as it concerns the view of persons, but we tend not to be as public with what we do. And so when certain organizations or certain sectors of society are doing anything, they've got to make sure that the cameras are there and rolling, and they've got the arrangements for it to be in the papers, etc. And so that's how people know what they're doing. I think partially because of our concept as it concerns Christianity, and even as the scripture teaches that you don't let your right hand know what your left hand do when it is your helping, etc. We tend not to publicize what we do as much as these other places, and so it is underrated what it is that we do. But I can guarantee you, if the church were to stop doing now, the situation in Jamaica would be significantly worse.
No, isn't there reason for people to say they want to see the church more? They want to know that the church is more involved. Want the church to speak out against certain atrocities and things of that nature publicly.
And that part, I think we have not been doing well enough with. And that's the speaking out. I do not think our voices are heard in the right places, in the general domain, as stridently as it ought to be heard. Some of that may be a lack of access, which probably we need to work on that, because what you find is that in most cases it is the representatives of umbrella groups that you will hear get the chance and get the calls for the interviews for these things, etc. But I think we probably need to be looking more on how we can make it known out there. But I think many of us use our pulpits as a means of getting that word out there and making our stance known. But as I said, public domain, I think we probably need to be a little bit more creative in finding the ways to get out there.
Okay. All right. So, rewind. What high school did you go to?
I went to St. George's College.
St. George's College. Now, you are the first person that I have interviewed that when they mentioned their high school, they didn't say the, or you didn't say the, you know? What was high school like for you?
High school was awesome. And I didn't have to say the because St. George's College is known to be creme de la creme. So
it came out anyway.
So I didn't have to add a prefix to it, you know.
Got it. Shame on me.
Blue and white blooded Georgian.
All right, okay.
Yes, you know, and for all my KC friends, you know, who like to talk about wrong sides of North Street, I like to remind them that it was a Georgian that started KC, you know. So, but yeah.
Okay.
Having said that.
Okay. All right.
But high school was great. High school was great. It was a time of my life that I got to really explore and get to know me, and it was a new world. It was a really new world for me. And I went to George's when persons of my color and background were still the minority in the population.
You can speak freely, you know. Because you're poor and black. You couldn't go George's because it was a white boy school. You can speak freely.
It was in the days of the Jesuits, you know.
Okay.
Yeah, and so everyone was ching and chong and
got you.
you know. And so it was an interesting time, and I like to say to persons that, you know, it was a boys' school, but you would almost not know.
Really?
Because except for classroom time, once it got to end of school, you would see more girls there than you would imagine. Because all the different clubs and the extracurricular activities were always done with girls' schools.
Oh, okay.
And you know, the St. George's boys were considered the gentlemen. So there were certain schools that would always want to come to be a part of our things, and even the more strict or the stricter girls' schools, the principals would comfortably give permission for them to come to George's.
That's a dangerous thing.
So it was fun.
I bet. But it couldn't have been carte blanche for you, because you started with your whole religious and spiritual walk from you were a little boy.
Oh yes, I became a born again Christian at age 8.
At age 8. Now here is a wonderful fact. What age did you start preaching?
I started preaching at age 14.
Now you see, what was I doing? No, but at high school you were 14 years old.
Yes.
So how did that work?
Well, I was known as a practicing Christian at high school. I was a senior member of the high school, the ISCF, Inter-School Christian Fellowship, throughout my years at St. George's.
Okay.
Of course, I was in a lot of other things too. I was in too many clubs to not. I remember when we're graduating at 5th form, and there's a form you got to fill out, and you had to fill out all the clubs and societies that you were a part of. I ran out of space.
Wow.
Yeah, I was in a lot of them. But I was always a practicing Christian. I was known as a Christian. Actually, most persons that I have met from those days that I didn't see them for a while, and then I saw them again later. When they hear the different things that I am, one thing that they would always say when they hear about me being a bishop, they say, "Oh yeah, we knew that would happen."
I saw that figure.
They might never have guessed the other things, and I mean, they figured I would do something with my life, but being a pastor, being a bishop, it was almost a foregone conclusion for most.
Because that's just who you were.
It was just who I was. It was my identity.
How has it been living as that with that identity?
Great and challenging in some ways.
Okay. Tell me about the great.
The great. Okay. Okay. You're such a... You ask good questions, yeah.
Thank you so much.
Well, great is that, you know, I look back over my life and I do not have any regrets as it concerns the way I have lived as a person. I enjoyed life, contrary to what some people believe, that, boy, if you're a Christian, you know what I mean, it's deadpan and you can't. No, I enjoyed life without having a lot of the negative repercussions that come from the activities.
Okay.
And so I had good, clean fun. Yes, I had a whole lot of girlfriends, but without the issues that come with the relationships, that these girlfriend relationships that would normally go beyond the boundaries of a Christian walk.
So let's clarify that, right? Because we are Jamaican.
Yeah, man. General meaning of girlfriend.
Right.
The
so you
generic
had a
meaning.
lot of friends who were female.
Yes.
Okay. Because the bishop will have to jump out of the chair. All right.
And I tell you this though, I had so many girlfriends that there are a lot of my friends at school who did not believe me that these were all platonic.
Right.
You know, because I mean they would have been busy, you know, trying to lyrics the girl and trying to, and the girl did not pay no mind, but I mean anything Damian said them just said to Damian. And Damian can do this and Damian can go, and so they figured
Something alright.
something you think we're idiot. But actually I guess it's because the girls came to realize that they were safe, so they never had to put up all the boundaries that they put up otherwise, because we were just being friends.
Right, makes sense. All right, so now you left high school, and did you go directly into college, or?
Yes, I went directly. I graduated from high school at age 15.
15. All right. Continue.
I graduated on a Sunday evening, and I started working the Monday morning.
When you say working, you mean like job?
Like job.
Okay. Now that's a story I want to hear. Absolutely.
So I got my first job, well, my first real job, because prior to that, I used to work on Saturdays. So there was a baker. Of course, I can't remember what the name was. It was a bakery and a restaurant. It used to be on South Odeon Avenue.
Okay.
I remember though it was owned by Beverly Lopez.
Okay.
And her husband. And I used to go there on a Saturday, and I would work. I would make the boxes and help with the bakery, and I'd collect my little envelope with my money at the end of the day, and I'd take all of it home to mommy.
Oh, but just said to me.
And she,
you were definitely
didn't even buy a drink out of it.
What?
But and I'll give you this. I need to make sure she gets this video when it comes out. But so I'd take it to her, and she would write down how much it is. She'd have a, you know, those little desk calendars.
Yes,
she'd
yeah,
write down and all, because she's supposedly borrowing it and she's going to give it back to me. You know how
Yeah,
that
man,
goes,
of
right?
course. Yeah, man.
That was it.
Absolutely.
But my first real work was at Allied Insurance Brokers.
Okay.
I was third in the graduating class. And so being third in the graduating class has allowed the privilege of doing the introduction of the guest speaker. And the guest speaker then was one Mr. Paul Bitter, who was then the managing director for Allied. And of course, he sent his profile, and I took his profile and created my own intro.
That's right.
And when I did the intro, I got a standing ovation
For the intro. That's right. That's right. That's right.
And so at the end of the introduction, at the end of the graduation, you know, Mr. Bitter came to me and he said, "Son, that was so good. Do you have a job?" I'm like, "No, sir." He says, he took out his card and everything. "Come and see me tomorrow morning."
That's right.
So Monday morning, I found myself to Allied Insurance Brokers.
What was your first position then? And
Well, can I tell you, I don't even know what it was called.
okay.
It was a temporary position. So I worked there until I think the November of that year, or somewhere in that effect. But it was a temporary position. I assisted I know it was in the claims department. So I assisted with processing, well, let me not say processing the claim, preparing things for processing the claim.
So that would be like accounting, something like that, or
Accounting, records,
okay.
that sort of stuff.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
So what I'm trying to get is the depth of your experience here, because we're building up to who you are today, right? And who I know him to be. So you left Allied, or did you do more positions at Allied after you have?
No, I left Allied. After Allied, I worked at the Ministry of Education as an accounting clerk.
All right. So hold on, now. You graduated at 15.
15, but I was 16 by the end of August that year.
Right. So you went to Allied at 16.
Yes.
You stayed until November.
Yes.
And then you went to the Ministry of Education at 16.
Yes.
As an accounting clerk.
Yes.
Continue. At 16.
So
Accounting clerk.
during that time, I was doing my AAT, which was then Association of Accounting Technicians courses. So it's an English based.
At 16.
Yes.
Continue.
So
Please. What 16-year-old does? Go ahead, please.
So I was doing my accounting Association of Accounting Technician course. So I did levels 1 and levels 2 with those. Got through with distinction, and after that I moved to ACCA.
And so when you moved to ACCA, you were now how old? 34, 35?
No. When I got to ACCA, I think I was about 18.
Alright, that's when you started studying for ACCA.
When I started ACCA level 1, I would have been about 18 or going towards 18.
And when did you get your ACCA?
But I didn't complete ACCA.
Okay.
Because I eventually decided that I didn't want to be an accountant.
Okay.
And so that was when I made my switch.
To?
So after that I did theology and psychology.
Okay, so now in all this time, since you started preaching at 14, were you connected to a church at that time during this Allied Insurance?
Sure.
And were you preaching at that point?
Sure.
Okay.
I've been preaching consistently since 14.
Did you have your own church at that time?
No.
Okay.
No. But I was
wondering for Superman that time.
I was officially first ordained at age 17.
Ordained?
Yes.
Meaning somebody said, you are now an ordained
pastor? I was not ordained as a pastor. I was ordained as an evangelist at age 17.
Wow.
And so I used to minister as an evangelist. I do evangelism and preach all over Jamaica.
Okay, at 17. All right, so good. So now you've now started your journey in psychology and theology. Because now you're so seasoned in theology that you said you might as well get that degree and make it official.
Indeed.
Okay, where did you go for that?
Well, I did that at International Apostolic University. That's in Ohio, USA.
Okay. And how long were you in Ohio?
Well, I lived here. I would just.
Oh, it was a remote.
Okay. It was, yeah. So you see, COVID now makes it normal.
Of course.
But that's what I did then, and so I would go up for particular courses, and I did most of my work from here because all of my qualifications I've had whilst working and studying.
Okay.
I've never studied full time after high school. Right. So I would do the work here, so it would be online, and submit my papers, etc. I didn't have to go up to defend No, I didn't have to defend my thesis. Yeah. So
All right. So your undergraduate degree is in.
my undergraduate qualification is in accounting.
I'm sorry. How did we get back to that?
Because you asked about my undergraduate.
But okay, wait, hold on. What did you go to Ohio?
That was a master's.
Hold on, man. Hold on. You were 18 when you decided. You were 19 when you decided that you were not going to do accounting anymore.
Probably about 90. Because I started teaching at 17.
Well, I'm sorry. Teaching what?
I taught accounts, grades 9, 10, and 11, Norman Manley High School.
No, people. Talk to me. Talk, please. All right. Okay. So, okay. So you started teaching at 19, you said?
No, 17.
17? In order to be a teacher, you must have a degree. Isn't that right?
Yeah, so based on my accounting qualifications, yes. I was a specialist teacher. Okay. So as a specialist in the system, it's called a specialist. Mm-hmm. So I was not a teacher, a trained teacher as it concerns teacher's diploma. Okay. But I was a specialist in my area, so I was a specialist teacher in accounting.
Uh-huh. All right. So then, okay, where did you do your undergraduate work?
So my undergrad work would have been my accounting courses, because when you're looking at ACCA level 1, ACCA level 2, it is equivalent to a first degree.
Okay.
Right, so remember what I would have done. So I'd have done the accounting technician courses, which allowed me to matriculate to the ACCA. Okay. And then I did ACCA, but I didn't go up to level 3 because I didn't seek to become a full certified accountant, because by then I realized that my personality type was not quite an accounting type person.
Got it. I understand that. All right. So then theology, psychology, you moved into psychology. You got your degree overseas, right? Between overseas and here, and that was your master's, right? Then you went back and did your doctorate.
Yes.
Right? Where did you do your doctorate?
Same university.
Same university. Okay. And so all of this studying that you'd been doing in theology moved you up in the ranks here as far as the church is concerned.
Indeed.
When did you become a bishop?
I was consecrated a bishop in, I think it was January 2003.
Okay, so much after, long after.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you for checking us out on Good News Jamaica TV for content that informs, inspires, and transforms. Please like, share, leave a comment, subscribe, and hit the notification bell for more positive Jamaica content. Walk good,